Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill today acknowledged he could have handled himself better in the initial moments of Sunday's traffic stop that left him handcuffed and pulled out of his car by police officers. He also said that did not give them the right to literally beat the dog out of him. Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert out against the Bills tomorrow night. Running back Devon Achane, game time decision. Another day in the contract holdout of Jets star edge rusher Hassan Reddick. The Jets want him to report and then they'll talk contract. After the season opener the other night, the Jets right now need some urgency with the situation, advises ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
Their front seven really struggled the other night, even though it was more against the run. Hassan Reddick with his 58 regular season sacks can make a huge difference. This was a team that lost Bryce Huff, John Franklin Myers, amongst others. They need help up front, and whether it's going to be Tennessee on Sunday or their home opener Thursday night against New England, Hassan Reddick can help.
MLB suspended Rays reliever Edwin Uceta 3 games for intentionally throwing at Philadelphia's Nick Castellanos last night. Rays manager Kevin Cash suspended 1 game.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, my former teammate, 2-time Super Bowl champ Eli Manning, joins us at 9:30 Eastern. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid, but blessings to you and your family. I hope you're safe during the storm. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Feels like every other Wednesday, doesn't it, Muse?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Not really, no.
Hump day.
Just driving you home on a Wednesday.
It's hump day.
Nothing to see here.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Just an SEC coaches teleconference Wednesday.
Hump day.
Just Saints back on the practice field.
It's hump day.
Just Russ Mitchell day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We got David Helman.
Hump day.
LSU alum.
It's hump day.
Covers the Cowboys.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Works for Fox Sports now.
Hump day.
Lives in L.A.
It's hump day.
Talk about the game.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We got around the SEC.
Hump day.
We got Bourbon Dictionary.
It's hump day.
Just a regular old Wednesday, huh, Muse?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Regular Wednesday.
Nothing to see here.
Hump day.
Ignore the dozens of people on the second floor around the Talk 107.3 studio.
It's hump day.
Nothing to see there.
Just doing radio.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Ignore the boxes of honey buns and cinnamon rolls down in the first floor kitchen.
Whoa, I didn't see those.
Oh, man. Are you a storm coverage noob?
No. I didn't see that.
Ignore the trays of sandwiches and other delectable goodies from City Port.
Okay, I was told they were in the basement. They were not.
First floor.
It's hump day.
Noob.
No. I was given misinformation.
Hey, Paul, did you see all the food?
I did not either.
Did you
Mike,
look for the
Mike.
food?
What day is it, Mike?
Yeah,
that.
Paul did not look. Paul doesn't eat food. Every now and again, I'll see Paul drink a smoothie.
Hump day.
Occasionally.
It's hump day.
When he feels like he needs to stay hydrated once every 3 or 4 months.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Nailed it.
It's a long hump day. We're almost through the whole Humpty Bump.
I love this part. Saw Chili Peppers at Jazz Fest.
Hump day.
They didn't do the Humpty Bump.
It's hump day.
God.
Would have been great.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
They were great anyway.
Hump day.
All right, because we must, I guess we'll get going. Ton to do today. We're already halfway through this segment, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Yeah, I had all kind of people saying, hey, man, you doing a show? You off today? No, we're not off today. Welcome to radio. You never get the day off. This is one of those things literally where like Muse, Paulie, and I, were we not sitting there yesterday going, all right, well, we're looking at the models, and it's showing like 90 miles an hour winds around 7 o'clock. We should be good at 6 if we wrap up the show and just get up. Like, it's the only, everyone else is like, batten down the hatches, take cover. Like, can you stay till 6? And then drive? Are you comfortable driving home?
Yeah, unless it's like a category 4 or above, we don't even consider it.
I know. There it is from WBRZ, right up our donkey. Here comes 90 right up your donkey. 90 mile an hour winds projected around 7 p.m. So, in all seriousness, everybody, please be careful. This is somewhat a jest. We're trying to bring some levity to a very serious situation, some maybe comic relief. But yeah, obviously Hurricane Francine is out there. It's Cat 1 right now. Could get up to a Cat 2. If you want hurricane coverage, our sister station, Talk 107.3, has you covered. We're going to do a regular Wednesday show here. Some of it, of course, involves Francine with the Saints and LSU's coverage of it. We're here for the next 3 hours, and we'll jet out here as soon as the show ends, get home, and everybody be safe. Brian Kelly, Shane Beamer, both on the SEC Coaches Teleconference on Wednesday. There was one, I think maybe two notable things from Brian Kelly. First, he was asked about Chris Hilton. He was asked for an update there on the senior receiver. This is the official word on Hilton.
We put him as, I think, on our Wednesday that he was still questionable. We won't have an update for that until tomorrow.
I can tell you I was told, and we did report this over at LouisianaSports.net, that it's right there on the homepage at LouisianaSports.net, that Chris Hilton did not practice on Wednesday. There was a little bit of a shakeup of the schedule. So because the storm is coming in this evening when LSU would normally practice late afternoon, they moved their practice to 9:30 Wednesday morning. So they practiced Tuesday in their normal time. Quick turnaround to Wednesday morning. That'll give them a long layoff, almost a full day, more than 24 hours to rest, recover, be ready for Thursday's practice. Hopefully the storm passes, everything's okay. They're back out there Thursday in their normal slot. Friday they'll travel. Saturday morning, of course, they'll play at Williams-Brice Stadium. The The other thing that was a bit noteworthy, look, this isn't a take that's unique to me. We've all talked about this in some capacity, some form or fashion over the last 2 seasons, year and a half thereabouts. It's been what you do with Harold Perkins, and that's something we all know at this point. Talked about it earlier this week. You've taken a player that was your most feared player, like the one guy you absolutely had to account for, and you've made him a bit of a non-factor by playing him in the position you are. But the other thing that goes hand in hand with that is when Harold Perkins is on the field as an off-ball linebacker, somebody else is off the field. So if you have Greg Penn on the field and Perkins in a 4-2-5, well, then Whit Weeks is coming off, or something along those lines, right? Last week, Greg Penn was your highest-graded defensive player. Forgive me, it was Zy Alexander was, but then Penn was in the top 5. Well, which is great. Well, then if you have Weeks and Perkins at off-ball linebacker, then Penn is coming off the field. So, but Brian Kelly did acknowledge on Wednesday, the question was specifically about Whit Weeks, who everybody's obviously very high on. We've been talking about him since he flashed last year as a freshman. And Brian Kelly kind of acknowledged the way Whit Weeks is playing, it is making them consider how they change personnel at linebacker.
Clearly, he has been our top performer and, has put himself in a position where it's going to be difficult for us to take him off the field at any time. And that's going to prompt us to, make some tough decisions relative to, the linebacker position. So, and that's a good thing because he's forced that because of his play. His consistency, his ability to make plays has given him the opportunity to be on the field, and, he can't be in a platoon situation.
I love that. I mean, think about, contrast that with what Brian Kelly said on Monday. When Kelly was talking to the media on Monday and he was kind of asked about the defensive backs, he talked about how Zy Alexander, I don't know if you have it, Muse, but where Zy Alexander could maybe give you 20 or 30 snaps. It was something around that. And I think the way Brian Kelly said it was, nobody can give you 65 snaps in the second. You had that play. This was Brian Kelly on. So I want you to compare that, where the context of what Kelly said about Whit Weeks was he's got to the point where, we can't platoon him. We can't take him off the field. Listen to the contrast of what he said Monday about the secondary.
I think what we have found is that nobody is at a point where they can play 65, 70 snaps. We have to get our players playing at the highest level, but not playing that many snaps. I think Zy can play, 30, 35, but he's going to have to be spelled as well. So, I think you're going to see 4 corners playing. I think you're going to see 4 or 5 safeties playing. So I think we're going to really rely on the depth of those units to make certain that we're playing at the highest level. And I think we'll be a better defensive backfield playing in that capacity.
So contrast that to what he said about linebacker. So we don't have anybody playing at a level good enough to where they can be out there for 65 or 70 snaps. We've got to platoon them. Here, Brian Kelly's telling you at linebacker, Whit Weeks is playing so well, we can't justify a platoon situation. He's got to be on the field. So what does that mean? If you want Harold Perkins on the field for 65 snaps, then he's got to move positions. Either that or he's going to lose reps, which you don't want to see that either because he's so dynamic. It's ultimately they're coming to the realization that they did a year ago that this is not where Harold Perkins needs to be playing. I mean, that answer is as much about Harold Perkins as it is about Whit Weeks. See what they do this weekend in Columbia, South Carolina. And by the way, I mean, the other part of that goes hand in hand is, Lenora Sellers, the South Carolina quarterback, is a big dude. He's 240 pounds. Against Old Dominion, when their offense stunk, he ran the ball 8 times. Last week against Kentucky, Lenora Sellers ran 22 times and threw it 14. You have got to be tougher on the interior, in particular against this opponent. So, yeah, it's one of those things where you're probably going to see a little bit of a defensive shakeup, and you need to, if for nothing else, for this opponent. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. The official beer of the LSU Tigers, our friends at Mockler, they were out at Tiger Stadium on Saturday for Nichols. They had that John Deere Gator out there as well. Forgive me, that's the John Deere Gator. That's not the Bud Light Gator. They were slinging tons of Bud Light swag, the new Bud Light hats. They had the new 100-year of Tiger Stadium Bud Light T-shirts. If you haven't seen them yet, look for a lot of those pop-ups out there. around Baton Rouge, around Tiger Stadium throughout this football season. You're going to see plenty of those T-shirts if you want to snag one of them. They're really cool, collectible, keepsake if you want to get them. But most importantly, if you're riding out the storm, you're watching the Tigers or the Saints, or you're at the game, your favorite watering hole, restaurant, bar, make sure you got plenty of ice cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Drink easy with Bud Light. Okay, it's after further review. The Saints are back on the practice field today as well. Dennis Allen met with reporters afterwards. Let's get you a quick catch-up on the Saints, not only from practice today, but also the Saints injury report, the first injury report of the week before the Cowboys game is posted, and a couple of names back at practice, which was good to see for the Saints as they head to Dallas. We'll get to that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know the drill. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Our friends over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys have been helping injured people in our state for more than 30 years. It's pretty easy. You go to getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. By now, you know that. If you'd rather talk to someone on the phone, you can. They have people manning their call center around the clock. So you can call the 8s, 888-8888, 888-8888. Of course, they've got offices all over the state of Louisiana. So it doesn't matter where you're listening or watching in the state. Gordon and his team have an office near you that they can help. So go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. If it's a big truck wreck, if it's a hit and run, if it's workers' comp, if you've been injured in an accident, any kind of accident, it's not your fault. You need the representation to make sure you get what you deserve. And the team at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys would like to help. So go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Or call 888-8888. That's 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refresh.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week. Where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
We're looking forward to going up to Dallas and having a chance to play against a really good football team, an extremely well-coached football team, a team that's won a lot of games over the last few years. I think they're really good in all three phases. I think Mike Zimmer is one of the better defensive minds in our game. He's always done a really good job. Probably get after the quarterback as good as anybody in our league. You know, Micah Parsons, I think, is one of, if not the best defensive player in our league. You know, they're one of the higher scoring teams in our league over the last few years. The quarterback's playing really well. CeeDee Lamb is a heck of a receiver, Brandon Cooks. They play really, really well at home, and so it's a great opportunity for us.
Can we get an our league counter in there, Muse?
I counted 3.
Can we play it again and then get a ding every time we hear an our league? Is that something that's doable? All right, let's get an our league counter. Here we go. Dennis Allen. Let's go. We're looking for our league counters.
We're looking forward to going up to Dallas and having a chance to play against a really good football team, an extremely well-coached football team, a team that's won a lot of games over the last few years. I think they're really good in all three phases. I think Mike Zimmer is one of the better defensive minds in our game. He's always done a really good job. Probably get after the quarterback as good as anybody in our league.
There it is.
You know, Micah Parsons, I think, is one of, if not the best defensive player in our league. You know, they're one of the higher scoring teams in our league over the last few years. Quarterback's playing really well. CeeDee Lamb is a heck of a receiver. Brandon Cooks. They play really, really well at home, and so it's a great opportunity for us.
Oh, 3? Boy, he started slow, and I was like, "Oh, was I just?" And then they were all compressed right there. I mean, 3 our legs, I think, in one long run on.
And he wanted to, man, but I think he substituted an our game in
game,
there.
He did have an our game. That was close.
That was close.
Our game. At the end of the day is another one.
At the end of the day is another one.
At the end of the day, there's one I'm missing. There's an obvious one. Look.
Look. Yeah, look.
Look.
I think this.
I think this. Yes. Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Oh gosh, there's another one too. It's gonna come to me later. I can't think of it.
When we would go to the Les Miles Monday press luncheons, I would. This is like 2000 and
the player
9, 10, 11. I mean, more than a decade ago. I would sit at the same table. You generally sit at the same spot, and Lee Feinswag was generally near me. And Lee would have a running tab for Les when he would say enjoy. There would be like he would put the words at the top of his legal pad, and he'd have columns like enjoy, whatever they were, and he would just sit there and he would tabulate want to, things like that. If a want. It would just be things like that. He would just sit there and tabulate the whole time. We'd always get a number at the end. So coaches have crutches.
Yeah, man.
Saints injury report is out here. First injury report of the week, and it is extensive. There are a lot of people listed. The good news is 4 of the players that are listed on the injury report are full participants, including A.T. Perry. Of course, last week, A.T. Perry injured his hand, middle of the week. He practiced on Wednesday. Thursday popped up on the injury report, that hand injury. So Perry didn't play. Now he's back. That's good news. Perry, Nick Saldivario had that calf injury in camp. He was a full participant. Rashid Shaheed, who's listed with a finger injury, but a full participant. And then Jamal Williams, who scored a touchdown on Sunday with a shoulder injury, but was a full participant. Interestingly enough, Jamal Williams, who 2 years ago led the NFL in rushing touchdowns, didn't score a touchdown in New Orleans his entire first season until, if you remember, the last game against Atlanta when Jameis called the audible at the line. That was the only touchdown Jamal Williams scored the entire year. And then first game of the season, boom, he rips one off there against Carolina and gets into the end zone. A little bit of a shoulder injury there for Jamal Williams, so we'll see how that might limit him. But he was full on Wednesday. Let's see. There were 4 players limited. Jalen Ford, Taliesin Fuanga listed with the back injury as limited. That's disappointing. Good to see Dallin Holker was back, a limited participant. But, of course, the rookie tight end back on the practice field is good. And then Foster Moreau limited with a concussion. We talked about that after the game. When Moreau hit the ground after that great catch on the sideline, you could see he kind of went. They hit the magic button. He kind of went night-night there for a second. And I guess you could see his wrist went limp as he tried to pick himself up. You could just tell he was if you're watching an MMA fight, they would say, "Oh, he hurt him." Like if someone hits the right button and it kind of just puts you out for a quick second. It was very clear that's what happened to Foster. So hope he's okay and can get back quickly, but he was there just limited. And then there were 5 players that did not participate. The 2 very disappointing ones, 3 actually, are 3 starters. Now, Colin Saunders did not play last week. We know he's still out with a calf, so he's still on the list as a DNP. But Lucas Patrick, who left the game with a toe injury, Tyrann Mathieu didn't participate with a heel injury, and then Marshawn Lattimore listed with both a hip and a hamstring did not participate. DeMarco Jackson with a calf injury, the other DNP. So, y'all, this is a very long, very extensive injury list for the New Orleans Saints. Usually when you get to the middle of the season, you might see this. That's when you're begging for an open date. You're begging for your bye to get some guys healthy. The fact that you're sitting here looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 players on the injury list here before week 2, that's concerning. And when Lattimore, Mathieu, Patrick, and Saunders, 4 starters, are DNPs, that's concerning. And then Fuanga, Moro, 2 more starters are limited. That's 6 starters that didn't participate or limited. Now, I don't worry about Lucas Patrick or Tyrann Mathieu or Marshawn Lattimore or Foster Moreau. These veteran players, I don't worry about them not practicing. What's the old Mike D line? Practices for the unskilled. If you're a starter in our league, thank you. So much of the objective is just get that player ready for Sunday. That's why, remember Ryan Ramczyk, as he was battling through his knee issues, Ramczyk would have a veteran day rest he never practiced on Wednesday. He was always on the injury report as a rest day. And then they'd get him limited on Thursday and sort of ramp him up on Friday and then get him ready to play on Sunday. So I'm not worried about the veterans there as long as they get ready to go for Sunday. And that's really all you're hoping for. As for Dallas, we'll run through it really quickly. The big one is Jake Ferguson. They're fantastic tight end. He's got the knee injury we learned. They feared initially it might be season ending. They got better news than expected. They're trying to get him ready to go this week. But Jake Ferguson was a DNP. Same with Marshawn Nealon with a calf. Tight end John Stevens did not participate with a hamstring injury, so that's 2 tight ends missing. The rest of the players that were all limited, Brandon Cooks, Eric Kendricks, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, all rest days. That was the designation that Cam Jordan would get and Ryan Ramczyk would get. And then C.J. Goodwin, cornerback, limited with a foot injury. So a much abbreviated injury list for the Dallas Cowboys here week 1, but the big one to watch is Jake Ferguson. One more from Dennis Allen. We mentioned there with DeMarcus Lawrence, the defensive end, being there on the injury list, as is Marshawn Nealon, who did not participate. Allen was asked about how they're going to handle that Dallas pass rush this week.
I think it's a really good scheme. They have a really good pressure package, and so we'll have to be on point with how we're identifying who's coming, which way the protection's going, all those kinds of things, and so that'll be a challenge. And then when you have a good scheme and you have really good players doing it, it becomes even better.
Saints are at Dallas on Sunday, noon Central Time, of course. It's a huge opportunity for the Saints, the Saints and the Cowboys had, arguably the most impressive wins of the opening weekend. I said arguably. There were some really nice wins. I mean, New England beating Cincinnati on the road is very impressive. There was a lot of really good wins, but for the Saints to win the manner in which they did was impressive. And, of course, for Dallas to go on the road and beat Cleveland like a drum when Cleveland was the best defense in the NFL a year ago is impressive. So we'll see how this all sorts to normalize a bit. The Saints are a 6.5-point road favorite in Dallas on Sunday. We'll see how much closer and how much healthier they may get as we get closer to the game. All right, we're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. You know where to find them, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over South Louisiana. Hey, stay connected with Shawbills on their Facebook page and on their social media as far as closings. With the storm coming through, I think we all understand that basically everything around town is closed as everybody's just trying to stay safe right now. But if you find yourself in need of tires or you have any vehicle issues, make sure you check out our friends over at Shaw Bills. You can go to ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. They did make the post, again, just as a reminder that all of their locations are closed today, Wednesday, September the 11th, with plans, depending on what happens here with Francine, to reopen on Thursday, but we'll keep you posted, so make sure you just stay connected with Shaw Bills on all of their social media. Go to ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, we'll get to Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro here in about 15 minutes from right now. You can email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Greg asked, where is Lee? That said he hadn't been on in a while. So Lee Feinswag was a Tuesday regular on the show for years and years and years. And Lee has sort of moved toward retirement and is I'm not going to break Lee's news for him. I'll let him disclose what he wants to disclose. But he's doing more family stuff. And so it became sort of hit and miss for Lee to commit to the every Tuesday radio spot. So I said, look, man, just no worries. Go do you. We'll make it work. So if we get a chance to get Lee back, when we do, we'd love to do it. I mean, the great part about the Lee bit forever is people would always ask me, like, hey, man, why do you have Lee on? And he and I would always laugh about it. It's like, because you always ask about it. And the sort of the bit with Lee, who I respect tremendously, and he was a sports writer and a decorated sports writer for decades. Who had great experience, but it was very much a contrast of styles, where Lee was this old sort of curmudgeon sports writer, and I was 10 years ago anyway, the young whippersnapper, and now I'm 42 and I'm the old ball guy in the room, or at least I'm getting to be. But anyway, I always love Lee's contributions on the show and would love to talk beer with him. People would ask about beer all the time, so hopefully we'll get Lee back. But thanks for asking; I do appreciate it. All right, it's After Further Review, y'all. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Pluckers. Pluckers is closed today as well on Wednesday. They look to reopen on Thursday, so no Pluckers trivia tonight. They're closed, as is pretty much everywhere with the storm coming in this evening. All right, we'll now get a quick break, go around the SEC. We'll do a little Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro in 15 minutes. So if you're sitting home just having a few cocktails as you pass the time as the storm comes through, you got a booze question, get it in for Taylor. We'll do that in about 15 minutes on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Buying or selling, commercial or residential, you need a realtor, you need Darren James. Darren's going to sell your home, guaranteed. Go to agent225.com, agent225.com, the most user-friendly website in real estate. Hey, one thing I want to remind you about, I saw Darren post this earlier today. This is just another way that Darren goes above and beyond, not only for his clients, but for the entire community. So Darren posted earlier on his social media a picture of his 17-foot trailer. And Darren offers that trailer. It's a covered trailer that he offers to all his clients when they move. So if you buy a house with Darren, he'll loan you the trailer to move your stuff, like totally free. Well, he's making that available also to the community here post-storm. So if you find yourself in need of hauling things away, you need a trailer, like Darren just will loan that to anybody. It's just the way he does things because he's awesome. Agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a...
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
You can't help it. You can't help yourself with it.
I didn't even ask for that.
No?
That's our new, it's Dan, our new production guy. We have Amanda, the new voice girl, and Dan, the new production guy. So Amanda voices everything, then Dan produces everything. I don't know what Dan was going to do. We just said, here, make this, and we got the in there. It was really good. Matt McMahon got his first commit for 2025. This happened like right as we were going off the air on Tuesday. 4-star forward Matthew Gilhool, Gilhool, picked the Tigers. A little bit of so he's a power forward. He's a top 100 overall player for the class of 2025. He's number 71 overall in the country in the composite. He's the 14th best power forward in the country. The number 1 player in the state of Pennsylvania. He's from Penn Charter. I like it a lot. LSU beat out a lot of really good programs. Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Iowa, Alabama, Mississippi State all had interest here in Matthew Gilhool. He was on campus this past weekend for the LSU Nichols game. It always makes sense, man. You want to bring a big-time prospect on campus, you bring them on campus for a football weekend. They get to experience all the people on campus. You get caught up in all that. It makes sense for all the other schools to bring their recruits to football weekends. So, and apparently Matt McMahon, I was reading the On3 piece on it. It was an interview with Gilhool. Matt McMahon had been calling him every day, and Gilhool said that he loves the way that Matt McMahon wants to use him. Not necessarily as a back-to-the-basket big, but a 6'10 power forward who can play with his back to the basket, but can step out and shoot. He's a lefty as well. And this is a guy who had a lot of interest, first prospect for the class of 2025 here to commit to Matt McMahon's squad. It was on the Nike EYBL circuit as well, and averaged 9 and 5, shot 55% from the floor on one of those elite circuits. So you got a big-time prospect here, and it's just abundantly clear, man. As bad as year 1 was for Matt McMahon here, and I'm not throwing shade. I think I was probably as patient as anybody as we talked about it. It was just an understanding of what he inherited. Things were very good under Will Wade, but until they weren't. And when Will was fired and the sanctions came, I mean, that's why they gave Matt McMahon an 8-year contract, because you had to make anybody attracted to that job because of the threat of sanctions and the uncertainty. So you paid Matt McMahon a lot of money. You gave him time and runway to get it right. The first year was brutal. Last year, you got into postseason play, into the NIT. And now this year, I think this is certainly Matt McMahon's best roster. And it's very reasonable to have the expectation that this should be an NCAA tournament team. I'm not telling you that, that they're going to contend for the SEC, but this should be a team that makes the NCAA tournament here this coming season. And you could see he's already starting to build now for future recruiting classes. So Matt McMahon gets his first commit for the 2025 cycle. It's a 6'10" power forward, a lefty, Matthew Gillul from Pennsylvania, the number one player in the state of Pennsylvania. All right, Taylor Calandro will be here in about 7 minutes. We'll do a little Bourbon Dictionary, so get your booze questions in. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Going to go around the SEC, but first, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Closed today, of course, with all the bad weather, certainly the one here in Baton Rouge, but it's Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, 9 locations in all. We're moving into the fall, but as we get into fall, football season makes the fall go like that. It'll be Christmas. It'll be the holiday season before you know it. Gents, if you're thinking about popping the question, make sure you go to Lee Michaels. Look, you got options. You know that. But the big box stores, it's impersonal. It's cookie cutter. You go to a boutique jeweler, you're generally going to overpay, and they're not going to have as good a selection. Lee Michaels is that perfect middle ground where they've got 9 locations. They've been buying diamonds for 40 years. They're going to be able to give you the great selection and the better price. And always the Lee Michaels experience. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Justin Jefferson's going to miss the first half. No, not that Justin Jefferson. There's an Alabama linebacker whose name is Justin Jefferson. He was ejected for targeting against South Florida in the second half, so he'll have to miss the first half against Wisconsin. Kalen DeBoer confirmed that. Defensive coordinator Kane Womack, spelled Womack, but they say Womack. Said he didn't really agree with the call. Surprise, surprise. Jefferson's got 12 tackles and a sack in 2 games. Good player. They'll miss him for the first half with a matchup Saturday in Madison.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Nick Anderson, Brent Venables is giving a Nick Anderson injury update. Been dealing with a quad injury. Did not play against Temple or Houston the first 2 weeks for the Sooners. Brent Venables said on Wednesday on the SEC Coaches Teleconference they're hopeful that he'll return against Tulane. Anderson's a wide receiver from Oklahoma. He was the second leading receiver a year ago for OU with 38 catches for just under 800 yards and his 10 touchdowns, tied for the team lead. Hoping to get him back for week 3.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Clark Lee provided an injury timeline for multiple players during the SEC Coaches Teleconference. The Doors are going to play Georgia State in Atlanta this weekend. Of course, that's the old Fulton County Stadium where the Braves used to play. Not Fulton County, Turner Field where the Braves used to play, that they've converted into the place where Fulton County is the old stadium that they tore down. Anyway, Vanning's trying to go 3-0 for the first time since 2017. Here you go. Defensive lineman Corday Cinder missed the game against Alcorn with an ankle injury. He's questionable. Cornerback Colby Taylor, not to be confused with Cody Dickerson. He practiced on Tuesday, should be available this weekend. He missed last week due to an internal matter.
The Florida Gators.
And Emmitt Smith will be the honorary Mr. Two Bits against Texas A&M. Florida hosts the Aggies, 3:30 Central Time there in the Swamp at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Emmitt's son, EJ, will be on the other sideline, of course, as he plays now for Texas A&M. Transferred to Texas A&M this offseason as a grad student after 4 seasons at Stanford. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Would you feel kind of goofy doing Mr. Two Bits?
I would. I think it's a bad tradition. I'm just going to be honest.
Thing,
yeah,
right?
I mean, gosh, of all the great cheers that there are in the SEC, you're really doing 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1 all for the Gators. Stand up and holler.
Yeah.
What is this? Second grade? Like, come on.
That's what they do.
I think it's weird that Emmitt Smith's going to have to take off his A&M gear to put on the Mr. Two-Bit shirt and then put on the A&M gear to support his son.
That's a better question. See, do you think he's wearing A&M gear?
He has to. He's supporting his son.
I don't think so.
He was the other day. They showed him at game day.
They weren't playing Florida.
I know, but it's his son, man. You're there to support your son.
I don't know, man. I watched the Mighty Ducks when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Adam Banks' dad wearing that Hawks jersey when they were playing, the Hawks jacket when they were playing the Ducks. And the Hawks guy pushed Adam Banks in the back, and he knocked him unconscious, and then he went down on the ice, and he scored a goal. And, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying.
I think he's going to wear some Texas A&M stuff.
Was Adam Banks' dad a bad father? Let's make that a poll question today, Muse. Was Adam Banks' dad a bad father for cheering for the Hawks in the what do they call it? The city championship, the league championship game, whatever it was?
I thought it was the league, our league.
In our league. Adam Banks is the best scorer in our league. I like getting bells every time we say our league. But you have to say it like that. You have to say our league.
Our league.
Our league. If you don't know what we're talking about, Sean Payton very commonly said our league all the time. And now Dennis Allen says it. He's just imitating Sean Payton. And Mickey Loomis does it.
They all do it.
They all the look. They start every sentence with look.
Drew Brees used to do it too.
Drew would do it too. Yes, our league. I don't know. It's odd how they all parrot each other, but they do. Was Adam Banks' dad? Let me know. I would love your feedback on this. Was Adam Banks' dad a bad father? And should Emmitt Smith? That's another good question. Should Emmitt Smith wear Florida or Texas A&M gear? Well, this is a good one for Marler. I kind of feel like I need to get Marler in on this. Chris Marler is our SEC guy over at LouisianaSports.net. I think this is one that Marler could have a field day with. I'm going to send him a note. All right. It's after further review. Are we doing this on Twitter? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, I'm putting the Adam Banks up on Twitter right now.
Okay, make sure you retweet it at LouisianaSports.net as well. Or I'll do, because I don't know if you have the login.
I don't have the
Okay, I'll make sure you have it. But anyway, so it'll be on the at 1045 ESPN Twitter. We'll all retweet it and everything. Let us know. I would love your thoughts. These are questions that matter. Was Adam Banks' dad a bad father? We'll find out the answer after the break.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Hey, hat tip to our friends over at Rouse's. When a storm is coming, I think we all know there's always a run on everything, water and bread and batteries. Please go check out their Facebook. So they did make this post. I'm going to share it with you quickly. New Iberia, all Bayou area stores, New Orleans West Bank stores, Ponchatoula, Hammond, all closing at various times today. So the New Iberia, Morgan City, that closed at 11 a.m. Bayou area stores are already closed. Is it for you at 15 minutes? They're closing New Orleans West Bank stores, Ponchatoula, and Hammond. So the Baton Rouge area stores, if I read this correctly, would still be open right now. But if you need supplies, especially after the storm passes, make sure you get by Rouse's. They're stocked. They've done a great job of staying on top of it. It's Rouse's.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. They're the gang with the slang.
Keep it 100. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
I don't understand.
Taylor, what's up, dude?
Yo, what's going on, Matt?
Well, I'm working while the rest of the state has the day off.
Yeah, I was shocked that you're working today,
Why?
to be honest.
Why would you be shocked that I'm working today?
I figured they were shutting the radio waves down for the news folks.
No.
Okay.
That never happens.
I thought it did.
No, we just we keep on keeping on, dog. I mean, people need their Saints injury reports. They need to get their booze questions answered. So we roll along, man. You know the old saying, the show must go on.
Yeah.
Well, that's my life. That's the life you
Calandro
choose.
didn't get that memo because we are closed.
Well,
today.
you're not in the show business.
That's right.
So you should be closed like everybody else. But we're here to entertain. So everybody's
That's right.
sitting at home doing nothing, maybe drinking some tasty beverages. Turn on
I'm about
YouTube,
to.
turn on WBTR, hang out with us. We're here all the way until 6 o'clock.
Well, one of my buddies just texted me and asked me if I was doing the radio today, and I had no clue you were even doing the radio. So
That's why I texted you. I was like, hey, just making sure you're good.
we're good, man. Riding it out in Baton Rouge with my parents.
What's new other than, obviously being closed today, but what's new over there?
We this past week we got a few bottles of Knob Creek Rye 10-year. I got to try it a few weeks ago. It is outstanding. It is very good. I think it's $70-ish. I love Knob Creek Rye in general.
Yeah, what's their standard rye? I've had Knob Creek Rye. What's the standard offering? Is it age stated?
So no, I don't even know if it's age stated, but it generally sits around like 6 years. I think their normal offering.
Okay.
And I feel like sometimes when you put a lot of age on rye, it kind of cooks the rye out of there. But there was rye in there. And Knob Creek's mash bill is a lot of corn in their rye too, but it still had some really good rye characteristics that I like. So yeah, we have some of that left, I think.
Here's the question of the day. Was Adam Banks' dad from the Mighty Ducks a bad father for going to the state championship and wearing the Hawks jacket while his son was playing for the Ducks?
He was at the game at least, so no.
Okay. All right. Taylor says no. He's not a bad dad. You've seen the Mighty Ducks, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're asking because Emmitt Smith is going to be at Florida, Texas A&M this weekend in the Swamp. He's going to be the honorary Mr. Two Bits. Well, his son plays for Texas A&M. Played 4 years at Stanford. Now transferred to A&M. So we're like, I was like, is he going to be wearing Florida stuff? Or Muse was like, he's got to be wearing A&M stuff. I was like, no, he doesn't, because Adam Banks' dad in the Mighty Ducks was up in the stands wearing the Hawks jacket. So, you know.
Well, I mean, Emmett played at Florida, so that's weird, man. I don't know. He's probably going to be wearing Florida gear.
Okay. Oh, see, now we have intrigue. See?
Yeah.
We have conflicting points of view that always creates interesting convo. Okay, let's get to questions before that guy texts me and is all pissed off that I'm not asking you all the questions, that old guy, whatever his name is. Here's one from Sean. Asked Taylor, thoughts on Rideshare IPA?
Rideshare. I can't remember who that's from. It's one of the locals. It's good though. It's Abita. It's a good little IPA.
Christian Lewis asked Taylor, I recently came across a French whiskey in the store over the weekend. Do you know anything about them? If so, any particular French whiskeys you'd recommend trying?
So there's a few. There's a couple. I'm trying to think of the one that we had at the store. I cannot think of the name of it. So French whiskey is kind of scotchy. Okay. It's got a little scotchy characteristic in general. It's not a huge segment of booze, but it does have some scotchy, cognac-y type characteristic. So if you're into that type of thing, scotchy, cognac-y, French whiskey is your deal. There's just not a lot of it floating around.
Greg Lehman asked Taylor, better sales period, just before a hurricane or just before the snow or ice storm?
So me and my dad were talking about this today.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's weird. We get a huge pop of business like the last few days, but we're closed today. So it kind of averages out. Yeah, I mean, it's been abnormally busy the past couple days, but we're closed today, and we could be closed tomorrow. So it all averages out in the long run, sort of. But it's definitely good for business.
We were talking about, I sent a notice out on our show text line, on my text line, about Parish Construction and Roofing. You know, we're encouraging people, like, if you think you need a tarp or might, to go fill out the form on our homepage, because we're just going to go in order, like a first come first serve deal, right? Storm over, we'll go through our priority list from our members, and then from our repair members, and then we'll go down the list just to people who have contacted us. Just, do you need a tarp? Do you need a tarp? Michael on the text line said, I need a bottle of E.H. Taylor, not a tarp. You got any E.H. Taylor sitting around?
I wish I could fill everybody's bellies with E.H. Taylor after the hurricane, but no.
Wouldn't be a bad thing to do.
No, absolutely not.
All right, I'm less than a minute, so we're going to get rolling here. What's y'all's plans?
For the store?
Yeah.
I mean, we're closed today, obviously, but we're just going to play it by ear this afternoon, I think. I haven't really heard.
All right, we'll keep in touch on it, man. Y'all be safe. Ride it out. Tell the fam we said hello, and we'll talk soon, all right?
Yeah, just pay attention to social media. We'll update it.
Got it. Thanks, man. That's Taylor Calandro. We appreciate Taylor for being with us here on Bourbon Dictionary. As I did mention, Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. If you're interested, go to the website, parishbuilt.com, and fill out the form on the homepage. Again, we've got we'll just go through the priority list, just as a first come, first served. So as the storm passes and it's safe for our crews to get out, we'll start tarping, and we'll go just in order of receipt. So go fill out the form on the homepage at parishbuilt.com. Okay, y'all, hour 2 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Like with all of the businesses that we're talking about here, it's just important, just stay tuned to all their social media for closures and everything like that. But with Michelli, I tell you about them all the time, and I know there's a lot of people who listen and watch. I mean, I can see all of our digital media on YouTube, on podcasts, on stream. There's so many people who watch and listen outside of Louisiana who, for everyone else, it's just Wednesday. And Michelli has more than 30 offices and calibration labs across a dozen different states. So the beat goes on. Michelli.com, Michelli from Michelli. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. If you weigh or measure something at Michelli, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. That's the easiest way I can say it. But so many people know Michelli for their scales. Only when they go to the website do they realize all the dozens of services that they offer. So become familiar with it over at Michelli.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill today acknowledged he could have handled himself better in the initial moments of Sunday's traffic stop that left him handcuffed and pulled out of his car by police officers. He added that did not give them the right to literally beat the dog out of him. Yesterday, Hill called for one of the officers to be fired. Injured Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert out tomorrow night against the Bills. Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson, calf injury, not a full participant at practice today. Pittsburgh's preparing as if Justin Fields will start a second straight game against the Broncos Sunday. Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers want to give Justin Fields an extended run to see whether or not he can take this job. By default, because of Russell Wilson's calf injury, this allows Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith to put Justin Fields in a game that actually means something and show proof of concept that he can be the guy that can deliver wins for him.
Major League Baseball suspended Rays reliever Edwin Uceda 3 games for intentionally throwing at Philadelphia's Nick Castellanos last night. Rays manager Kevin Cash suspended 1 game by MLB.
Why pay more for a great shave? Choose Barbasol, America's #1 brand of shaving cream. Barbasol's thick and rich lather gives you a close, comfortable shave for just half the price of gels. Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tombley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk Saints Cowboys with David Helman, who covers the Cowboys, has for a long time. LSU alum, former LSU, the Daily Reveille editor. Worked with Hunt Palmer, as a matter of fact, back in the day. We're looking forward to having Helman back on the show here in about a dozen minutes from right now. LSU in South Carolina Saturday from Columbia. You know the drill, 11 a.m. Central. There's about a 70% chance of rain on the day. As I looked at the radar earlier today, only about 20% chance around the actual game time. So maybe they dodge some storms. We'll see how it goes if the weather actually makes an impact on the game. Brian Kelly was asked about it because on Wednesday, with all the rain, even Wednesday morning, with it raining, LSU went and practiced outside. And Brian Kelly talked about why they decided to go outside and practice in the conditions.
They practiced hard. We were outside all day. So, we're expecting some rain in Columbia on Saturday. So it was a good preparation for us to be, handling a wet ball and being in the wet conditions if, in fact, we do get, sustained rain on Saturday. So they did a really good job. I thought they responded well. And the practice was what I would expect it to be on a Wednesday. And hopefully this storm passes through without much damage and we're able to get back to a regular schedule on Thursday.
If LSU gets back to regular schedule, they'll practice Thursday late afternoon and then, of course, travel Friday, and they'll play on Saturday. And it's interesting because we're at the point of the week, Wednesday, Thursday is when you start to see a lot of like the predictions for the coming week come through. So typically Monday is a full-on recap of everything that happened. Tuesday, it's not as newsy, and you start to see a little bit of transition. By Wednesday, the previous week is gone, and everybody's in full look-ahead mode. So you start to see some predictions. And I was interested because today there were two pretty notable outlets that had writers pick South Carolina not only to cover, but to win the game, to beat LSU Saturday at Williams-Brice. One of them was Jerry Palm at CBS. He wrote, he has it as his upset of the week, South Carolina beating LSU. Said South Carolina put up one of the more surprising results of the young season last week with a 31-6 win at Kentucky as 9-point underdogs. The Gamecocks defense matched the Wildcats offense by scoring 6 points of their own. Now, South Carolina looks to go 2-0 in conference play against the Tigers. LSU bounced back from the loss to the other USC with a win over Nicholls State last week, but gave up 21 points. I like the Gamecocks at home in a relatively low-scoring affair. He's got South Carolina to win the game outright. Brad Crawford at 24/7. Also, in his picks this week, picked South Carolina. He said, I picked this game as one of LSU's 3 projected losses this season during the summer, and nothing over the first 2 weeks of the season is changing that selection for me. South Carolina's offense might not be clicking just yet, but quarterback Lenora Sellers is improving with every rep, and this is a potential get-right game on that side of the football against, surprisingly, the SEC's worst defense up to this point. Williams-Brice will be rocking. The Gamecocks will snap a 6-game skid against nationally ranked competition. He's got South Carolina 24-20. Okay. A couple things. When I read through those two things, and I like Jerry a lot, and I think Brad does a really good job as well. Both guys have come on the show. Reading those two write-ups on this game, tell me they looked at a box score. They looked at a final score and a box score. That's it. If you look at South Carolina, Kentucky, and all you see is 31-6, you didn't watch that game. I did. I had money on South Carolina plus the 9, so I was very interested in that game. And at halftime of that game, it was a 10-6 South Carolina lead, and Carolina had 101 yards of total offense in that game. That South Carolina team, offensively, is not good. I would go so far as to say Lenora Sellers today is a bad SEC quarterback. I'm not telling you he'll never be good. He's a big kid, 240. He's a load. He's got an arm, can throw it a ton. The rec specs are something that get a lot of attention. Respect if you're willing to go out there on national TV and wear rec specs in the year of our Lord 2024 and not care if you're mocked for it, but whatever. I guess when you're 240 pounds, you don't care what people say. But the bottom line is, Lenora Sellers, through 2 games, has been atrocious. In their opener against Old Dominion, which apparently both those guys are just going to ignore, in the opener against Old Dominion, which I was watching at the Park MGM Sportsbook in Las Vegas, sitting there at a corner booth with my wife, a couple of buddies, Russ Mitchell. We're sitting there having some beers and some apps, and I'm watching this game going, this is horrendous. Against Old Dominion, South Carolina, on their home field, won that game 23-19. Lenora Sellers ran 8 times for negative 11 yards against Old Dominion. Let me say that again. Against Old Dominion, Lenora Sellers had 8 rushing attempts for negative 11 yards. Yes, sacks come into play, but that means you gave up sacks against Old Dominion. Passing, he was 10 of 23 for 114 yards. He completed 10 passes against Old Dominion. South Carolina in that game scored 2 touchdowns offensively. Both of them came after Old Dominion fumbled inside their own 10-yard line. So Old Dominion fumbled inside their 10, giving Carolina a goal-to-go situation. Those are the only 2 touchdowns that Carolina scored against Old Dominion. They come back a week later against Kentucky. Kentucky was anemic offensively. If you watch it, like Brock Vandegrift is also a very bad quarterback. It's no wonder he didn't win the job at Georgia. There was a point in that game where Kentucky ran the ball 17 consecutive plays. Oh, by the way, the South Carolina defense had a pick 6, which is how they got that final margin as well. So it's not like the offense went and blitzkrieged him and scored 31. Anyway, in that game, Lenora Sellers was 10 of 14 for 166, and he ran it 22 times for 68 yards. You can see what happened. In the first week, Sellers threw it 23, ran it 8. They go to Kentucky, he throws it 14 times and runs it 22. They basically said, kid, we don't have weapons. You can't throw. You're a big kid. We're just going to run the ball. Which, by the way, is why Brian Kelly on Wednesday, when he was talking about the linebacker position and Whit Weeks specifically, talked about making some changes there. Can you play that again? This is Brian Kelly from Wednesday talking about Whit Weeks and the role he's got to play at linebacker for this defense.
Clearly, he has been our top performer and, has put himself in a position where it's going to be difficult for us to take him off the field at any time. And that's going to prompt us to, make some tough decisions relative to, the linebacker position. So, and that's a good thing because he's forced that because of his play. His consistency, his ability to make plays has given him the opportunity to be on the field. And, he can't be in a platoon situation.
Good. You're not going to platoon him. He's going to be on the field every play. That means Harold Perkins isn't going to get as many reps at off-ball linebacker. Good. This is a game where Whit Weeks, Greg Penn, West Weeks need to be in a see-ball, hit-ball situation against a 240-pound quarterback. That's what this week necessitates because they don't have the weapons to beat you passing. They have 2 completions this year. Lenora Sellers has completed 20 passes in 2 games, 10 and 10. 2 of those completions account for 75 yards. So you're talking about an offense that just can't move through the air. They're incapable. So I'm not and to hear Jerry Palm write about LSU having the worst defense in the SEC. Forgive me, that was to hear Brad Crawford write about LSU having the worst defense in the SEC. Context matters. You played Lincoln Riley's offense. Lincoln Riley rolls out of bed and scores 40. Since the year he showed up at Oklahoma, his time at Oklahoma, now his 3rd season at USC, every year they've averaged at least 40 points except one. His last year at Oklahoma, they averaged 39. So you play USC and Lincoln Riley, and with 8 seconds to go in that game, they're sitting on 20 points. You want to try to convince me LSU's the worst defense in the SEC? You're just not watching. You're reading a box score. I'm not trying to crack on these guys specifically, but that's how narratives get started, and that's annoying. Listen, I'm not pumping LSU up defensively. I'm not telling you they're awesome or are going to be awesome. What I'm telling you is a year ago, they were the worst defense in the history of the program. They are dramatically improved from what they were a year ago. They're not giving up big plays in the passing game. I don't think they're very good on the interior of the defensive line, and obviously losing Jacoby and Guillory hurts. But you have a capable, competent defensive coordinator who's put a scheme in place to limit the big plays down the field and to be sound and make teams put together 10, 12 long drives. That's what you saw against USC. You made them consistently drive the length of the field. You're going to have a much better effort against South Carolina on the road in your SEC opener than you had against Nichols. That goes without saying. This is not the worst defense in the SEC. Far from it. Arkansas is a horrendous defense. Mississippi State is a bad defensive football team. Florida got absolutely dump trucked on their home field by Miami, who's a good team. But Florida is not a good team or a good defense. LSU's not the worst defense in the league, and I'm going to tell you this right now. South Carolina has a good pass rush. The good-on-good matchup is LSU's offensive line against South Carolina's defensive front. That's the good-on-good matchup. If South Carolina cannot match up on the outside with LSU's receivers, with Mason Taylor, with the backs coming out of the backfield.
Mason Taylor!
South Carolina doesn't have the athletes to do it. So if LSU's offensive line keeps Nussmeier upright, he slings it all over the yard, throws for 300, and LSU wins this game and covers easily if they keep Nussmeier upright. But to sit here and try to tell me that Lenora Sellers is getting better and that LSU is the worst defense in the SEC, you're just not actually watching the games. All you're doing is reading box scores, and that don't tell the story through 2 weeks. Lenora Sellers. Freaking Rex Specs going out there. Guys completed 20 passes total in 2 games. Old Dominion? Get out of here. Kick rocks. Be careful what you read, okay? David Helman's going to join us next to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. It's AFR.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel, the Renaissance Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Look, here's hoping everybody is super safe. You know, if you need lodging after the storm, of course, the Watermark Downtown, the Renaissance Southtown, right there in Bluebonnet across from the mall and Perkins Row, there for you. Massive, sprawling hotel right there in the heart of Baton Rouge. Proximity to I-10, to Perkins Road, all the main arteries, so it's easy to get to, but it's luxurious and so much to do there as well. Amenities from the gym facilities and, of course, Tallulah, the restaurant right there in the lobby of the hotel. It's the Renaissance right there on Bluebonnet. Hotels don't close, y'all. So if you do find yourself or family members evacuating the storm in need of space or lodging, whatever it may be, make sure you remember our friends, the Watermark Downtown and the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. Can't wait for them to be open at full service again. We can tell you more about all the fun stuff going on, but just be safe, courtesy of the Watermark and the Renaissance.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Saints Cowboys, Sunday, noon. Can the Saints make it 2-0? The level of competition ratchets up dramatically. David Helman, Fox Sports, covered the Cowboys for a long time. Proud Manship alum over at LSU as well. Good enough to join us. How are you, dude?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I hope everybody's staying safe, staying dry over there. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, man, we're good. I think the Morgan City, the southern part of the state, is probably going to get knocked around a good bit here. In Baton Rouge, we're on the west side of the storm, so we may not get it as bad as other parts of the state, but of course everybody's going to feel it to a degree. So we appreciate it, though, man. Hey, give me a reaction to just how dominant Dallas was at Cleveland in Week 1.
To be honest with you, as somebody that's covered the team for a long time, it was almost ho-hum, just because, look, we know the Cowboys' struggles in the postseason are well documented, but it was a blueprint we've seen a lot, basically since Micah Parsons came into the league, which he's on year 4 now, of you just overwhelm the opposition with your pass rush, get a couple mistakes out of them. Dak Prescott in the offense, they don't always have to be amazing. They're very efficient. And, it was 20-3 at halftime, and you were just kind of like, all right, they're going to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback in the second half, and this thing's going to be over. So it was it's an impressive win just because Cleveland was a playoff team last year, but I was kind of watching, and I was like, man, this looks really familiar. This looks like a lot of Cowboys games I've watched over the years.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by what Dallas did defensively. I am surprised that what Dallas did offensively, because Cleveland was the best defense in the NFL a year ago, and they completely neutralized Myles Garrett as well. How did they do that?
Yeah, I think it's two things, and, credit to the Cowboys scouting staff, man, especially when it comes to offensive linemen. They do a phenomenal job. They found Zach Martin a decade ago. They found Tyron Smith before that. They just drafted Tyler Smith at guard, who's an all-pro already, and now this new kid, Tyler Guyton's their left tackle. His first career start is against Myles Garrett, and he wasn't amazing. I'm not trying to say he shut Myles Garrett down. He gave up a strip sack, but by and large, for his first NFL start, he was really effective, and it's got to make you feel good if you're a Cowboys fan, the way that he played. And then, people criticize him, but Dak Prescott's one of the most cerebral, experienced quarterbacks in the NFL. He knew how to handle the blitz. He knew how to get out of plays that weren't going to be successful, and really not their most explosive or entertaining day, but just very efficient. And when you're going against Myles Garrett and company, that's plenty good enough. And
despite, I don't know, man, the lack of a true bell cow rusher, you tell me if I'm wrong on there, they still run for 100 yards. Zeke, 10 for 40. How did they do this? Like, how do you put together the running game when you don't actually have a true, legit lead back?
Yeah, we're going to see. It was a nice enough day. Zeke he showed some flashes of his old self there. I still think Zeke Elliott can be a useful player. I certainly don't think he's the all-pro that he used to be. But, just at 4 yards a carry, it wasn't anything impressive. And that's what we're going to see as the season goes along. They don't have a bell cow. They don't have a ton of juice. Zeke, certainly he's just not that guy that's going to break a bunch of explosive games at this point in his career. I don't think Dalvin Cook is that guy either. We haven't seen him yet. He's on the Cowboys practice squad. It looked good enough in Week 1, and you kind of figure, well, if they can do that against the Browns, maybe they can do it against anybody. But I think the jury's still out. I want to see how it goes from here. Obviously, the Saints are another tough defense, so I'm not drawing too many conclusions yet because I do still think that could be a problem spot for this offense.
David Helman's with us, Fox Sports. He's on Twitter at DavidHelman_1L. You want to go give him a follow, you can. I'll get to the Saints game here in just a quick second, David. But if we go back, just like a big picture question about Dallas, there's always conversation around this franchise. You know that. The whole thing all offseason was CeeDee Lamb and Dak and the contracts. Does any of that actually, maybe it's just like a media creation where we're like, oh, is it a distraction? Does it actually affect, does any of that stuff actually affect this team and this organization?
I think to a man, they would all tell you that they don't. And I think it kind of depends on the guy, right? I mean, I spent a lot of time around Dak Prescott. I genuinely believe that he's a very unflappable guy. He's not a guy that lets the outside affect the way that he plays on the field. I think it depends, though. I mean, there's 60-something guys in that locker room, and can they all say that? Can they all say that they're really great at blocking out the noise? I can't point to a definitive reason or a definitive proof of that it's this big problem, but I have to believe that stuff starts to weigh on people. Not only is everybody always talking about you, but there's typically controversy, and on top of that, the guy that owns the team stirs a lot of it up. I mean, Jerry Jones is the single biggest creator of Cowboys news there is. I just have to think there's got to be times where you're at your locker and you're like, man, what's it like to play for a team where it's just only about football all the time? And like, you've heard players that leave Dallas say that after the fact. So I think there's something to it. I can't say that that's the reason why they haven't gotten over the hump in 30 years, but I think you have to be mentally tougher to play in Dallas than you would in a lot of other places.
That makes sense. I mean, look, and there's a lot of teams that haven't won a championship over the last 30 years. Dallas just gets a lot of the conversation, but this is a good football team. There's no way around that. Turn the page to Sunday. If Dallas has an Achilles heel that New Orleans might be able to exploit, where do you think that is?
Well, a couple things. I mean, the offensive line was amazing in week one, and you're not going to get many stronger tests than Cleveland, but you're still breaking in two rookies there. I mean, that's still a thing that you're going to have to keep an eye on. It's a thing that good defensive coaches should be able to take advantage of, at least to a degree. And like I said, I'm not convinced that this is a completely three-dimensional offense. I'm not buying that this running game is good enough as of yet. So I do think you can potentially make this team one-dimensional. As good as I think Dak Prescott is just, we know it's not a good recipe of complimentary football to ask your quarterback to drop back 35, 40, 45 times in a game. So I would point to that. And then on the opposite side, again, week one was an amazing start, but the Cowboys' biggest problem last year was when you don't get into that favorable game script that just lets you rush the quarterback and you actually have to play run defense and do all of the boring stuff, they struggled with that. They got run on a lot last year. I think, Mike Zimmer's the DC in Dallas now. I think he's done a lot to boost that. I think they will be better. But, if you get into the second half of a one-score game and the other team can still run and do screens and misdirection and kind of get you off of that pass rush mode, I need to see Dallas play that better because they had a lot of problems with it last year.
If I don't know how much or if you got to see any of the Saints against Carolina, I mean, it was impressive in every way you can imagine it being impressive. Is there a thing that the Saints do or does particularly well that you think might be able to have success against Dallas?
You know what's funny is, here at Fox, we've got like a war room set up. So I've got like a monitor on every game on Sundays. And I was so excited to see this Saints-Carolina game because, I want to see what the Saints look like. But I also, I was optimistic about Bryce Young and I wanted to see what that looked like. And I think within 9 minutes of the game starting, I was like, all right, I don't really need to be watching this. This is ridiculous. I just kind of, I was like, all right, what's going on in these other games? Because I think the Saints wrapped this thing up with about 4 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at it, one thing that I think is really interesting is I think the Saints have the back seven on defense to make life difficult. I mean, the Cowboys can get it done against a lot of teams. They obviously got it done against a really good defense in Cleveland. But at the end of the day, your passing offense is basically CD Lamb, and we'll try to slap something together with tape and WD-40, So I think if you can bracket CD and double him and do your best to take him out of the game and not let him have like a crazy day, I don't know that the Cowboys have enough other options to hurt you in the passing game. And especially since we don't know about their run game, I'm curious about that because I think the Saints have guys that can get sticky in coverage. And if CD's not taking over the game, can Brandon Cooks be that guy? He had a touchdown on Sunday, but it was really his only play of the day. And behind that, Jake Ferguson, the tight end, is dealing with a knee injury. And there's really not much else in the way of proven receiver production on this team. So I'm curious to see how the Saints secondary does. I think they're probably up to the challenge of making life difficult on them.
Do you have any insight if Ferguson plays?
I'm not in Dallas with the team anymore. I'll tell you this: it looked like his season was over on Sunday, and thank God it's not. But he's talking to the media today saying he thinks he can play Sunday, which is crazy. I heard he told reporters that he's not feeling any pain in the knee right now, but he hasn't run yet. I think he's going to run tomorrow. But I would call it at least a 50-50 shot that he plays, which just seems crazy after the way he left the game on Sunday.
If he doesn't play, how big of a deal is that to the offense?
I think it's a huge deal. He didn't have the craziest game. Again, it's week one against a great defense. I think Jake Ferguson is easily the second best option in this offense behind CD, not just because he can make plays with the ball in his hands, but he's a volume guy and a deep intermediate guy. Dak Prescott loves to throw down the seams. He loves to target the middle of the field. It's his favorite thing in the world to target the tight end 18, 20 yards downfield. And he's got a great rapport with Jake. Like I said, Brandon Cooks, at this point, he's still a guy whose speed you have to honor, but you're probably talking about a guy that you're going to target 3 to 6 times a game. He's just not a volume guy. So without Jake Ferguson in there, I think, it makes it that much easier to focus on CeeDee Lamb, and I think it becomes problematic for their passing offense for sure.
David Helman, before you go, one thing to watch, if the Saints manage to pull the upset, what's the fill in the blank there? How do they do it?
You broke up on me there for a second.
Oh, sorry, no worries. I was just saying, give me one thing to watch. If the Saints are able to pull the upset, how do they do it? I'm the worst. I still can't hear you. Clearly, you don't want to answer my question. It's all good, man. We'll let you go. David, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
All right, brother. Sorry about that.
All good. That's David Helman, Fox Sports. Wrote for the Cowboys, for DallasCowboys.com for a long time. LSU, Manship alum, and now out in L.A. working for Fox Sports. We appreciate it. But it's just a giant test. It's a dramatically different test from a year ago. You went from playing the worst team in the league to a perennial playoff team, a team that hasn't been able to get over the hump in the playoffs, but still a perennial playoff team. We'll see how the Saints might do. Hey, we're brought to you by Supper Club. I told you about this yesterday, and I'm pretty excited about it. They're closed today, unfortunately, for the storm and everything, as we all know and can certainly understand well. But they're going to reopen on Thursday. And I was talking to Chef Leighton Carbo over at Supper Club yesterday, and they're doing a pretty awesome thing. They are going to bust open a very rare bottle of wine at Supper Club on Thursday. And the truth is, you can go to Supper Club any day that they're open and have an amazing experience for around the same cost or price you would any other fine dining restaurant in town. You could have a USDA prime steak. You could have apps and amazing entrees and desserts and wine and cocktails and awesome. And you could spend the same that you would at any other fine dining restaurant. The difference is, of course, the experience at Supper Club. And if you want the one-of-a-kind type food, alcohol type experience, you can do that at Supper Club. You want the Japanese omi beef, that's the stuff I've been telling you about. It comes from a farm in Japan that's 400 years old. They got the herb beef as well, which is Japanese Wagyu, there are 3 restaurants in the United States of America that sell that herb beef. 2 of them are in New York and Supper Club on Perkins Road. So you can have these one-of-a-kind experiences at Supper Club as well. And so on Thursday, this is what they're going to do. It's kind of like their post hurricane party. I hate to say party, but you understand it. So they're going to pop open a bottle of Chateau Margaux. This is, if you look at it on the menu and the wine list, their bottle of 2014 Chateau Margaux is $3,775. It is an expensive bottle of wine. Well, Thursday, when they reopen, they're going to pop open that bottle of Chateau Margaux, pour starting at 5 p.m. while it lasts. It's going to be $50 an ounce. One night only. on Thursday, tomorrow. So if you've ever wanted to say that you've tried one of the rarest, most exquisite wines in the world, you can do it at Supper Club on Thursday. It's sort of their Hurricane Party Supper Club style. They'll do it on Thursday. So they close today on Wednesday. They'll be reopened on Thursday. If you want to get by, make plans to be there. An opportunity for people in Baton Rouge to have a taste of Chateau Margaux for $50 an ounce. So let's get on by Supper Club. Let's cook that bottle in a quick minute. Hopefully there's enough when I get off air to be able to go there and have a pour. But hope to see a lot of y'all there. It's going to be awesome. They've been making Chateau Margaux in France for 500 years. I mean, it's incredible. So in any event, you want to try Chateau Margaux, they'll open the bottle at Supper Club tomorrow on Thursday for $50 an ounce, selling it by the ounce so everybody can have a taste as long as supplies last. So we'll see you there at Supper Club on Thursday. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for being here with us. Let me knock out a quick break. Muslav Tigers and the Pros here in about 15 minutes from right now. Some incredible numbers from the NFL this past weekend of Week 1. We still got a lot to get to. Russ Mitchell will be here next hour for his usual spot. We'll talk about what was and what will be this weekend in the Southeastern Conference. So a ton to do, and glad you're here. It's AFR, presented by Pluckers.
After Further Review.
Hey, once the storm passes, if you have issues with your HVAC, make sure you call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. They're the best. They have more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews. And one of the things that I always tell you, especially when you're dealing with contractors, is trust local contractors. Trust local, reputable contractors. People that were here before the storm will be here after the storm, because you want to make sure people are going to do right by you. And if something does happen down the road and you need to call someone back, are they going to answer the phone? Are they going to be there? Are they going to do right by you? The answer is always yes with River City's 1 Hour Air. They've been around for 40 years. They got double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. I mean, this was a 5-star Google review from Tia Collins, who said, Gannon came to my house today for regular maintenance. He was awesome, extremely knowledgeable, patient, professional. Would love to have him as our regular service technician. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
Hello, Kim Mulkey here. When I have construction and roofing needs, I call my friend Ryan Terrio and the Parish Construction and Roofing team. I sleep good at night because I know the Parish team has my back. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. And remember, always do business with someone you know.
Parish Built, from your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Plucker's is closed today, as are most places around the area. They plan to be back open on Thursday. Everybody just buckle in, stay safe, and ride this thing out. And we're here with you until 6, and then we'll get home, be safe with everybody else this evening, and look forward to being back with you tomorrow as well. What an opening weekend for the NFL. They averaged 21 million viewers per game during Week 1. That's the most watched Week 1 ever. Say that again. The most watched Week 1 in NFL history. Incredible. 12% increase over a year ago. 123 million people saw at least part of one game, the highest total for an opening week since 2019. NBC had their most watched game, the opener with Chiefs Ravens, since their most watched game. Sorry, let me say that right. NBC with the Chiefs Ravens had the most watched game of the opening weekend, and it was their second most watched game since they took over Sunday Night Football rights in 2006. Tom Brady's first game as a Fox analyst, Cowboys-Browns, that averaged 23.93 million. CBS averaged just under 18 million for its 6 games. That was its most watched Week 1 single header since it acquired network rights in 1998. Monday Night Football had 20.4 million viewers on average. Just incredible. I mean, the NFL continues to be the 8,000-pound gorilla in the room. It's just the thing everyone watches, and it makes so much sense as every other thing on TV. Nobody watches, I hate to say it, it's just nobody watches network TV anymore. It's just not, like, we watch on-demand television. Nobody watches things live anymore. Obviously, I look, and our friends over at WBRZ are doing hurricane coverage, and that is massive when you have events like this, and you need live television and things, live radio like this. But we're a culture that wants things on demand. That's not breaking news or anything. So we all in the media, content creators, have to serve our audience in the manner in which they want their content. So that's why, like, we here, yes, we're a radio show, but we have our shows on podcast, on-demand audio, live video on YouTube, on-demand video, full shows. We cut it down into segments on YouTube for Saints, for LSU, short-form vertical on YouTube Shorts, and reads. Like, you just have to be everywhere your audience may want to be because it's how people consume. The reason it's so stunning to see these numbers is because it's literally the only thing in the world or in our country that generates this type of singular attention is the NFL, live NFL football. It's bonkers to see this. I mean, in an era where it is so counterintuitive to our behavior as our societal behavior, everything we do and how we consume, it's just short form, quick, how everyone on the go. And when the NFL's on, we just stop. We stop and we stare at TVs. And yes, part of it is fantasy football and part of it is sports betting. And for some, it's Taylor Swift or whatever the case may be. But we all just watch, despite all the complaints about the kickoff rule, about, it's flag football, you hate all the penalties. You go back to anything, what the NFL did during COVID or the Kaepernick protest or all the things that threatened the NFL's dominance, it just continues to grow. And history tells us that's not going to last forever. I mean, if you go back to 1980 and try to convince someone that the NFL was going to overtake Major League Baseball as America's love affair, people would have laughed you out the friggin' room, man. Now imagine telling someone today that there's going to be a day, 20, 40, 50 years, whenever it is, that the NBA is going to be more popular than the NFL. And that day may come. It may. With fewer kids playing football, the average median age of an NBA fan getting younger, when those young fans get older, I could see a day generationally where the NBA could overtake the NFL. Boy, it doesn't seem like it's on the horizon at all. What a weekend for the NFL there in week 1. All right, it's After Further Review. Love having you aboard with us. Love telling you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Beautiful entry doors. Hardy plank vinyl siding. They do shutters as well. I was having this conversation with Erica last night because she and Drew are at home and I'm here at work. So what do we do if the weather gets bad? Like, where in the house should we go? I said, stay right here in our main room because the windows, which are these, it's a room full of floor-to-ceiling picture windows. And you would think that's counterintuitive because you wouldn't want to be by windows. But when we moved into this home, we had those Cat 5 impact-resistant windows installed at our home. And not only are they energy efficient, but it provides an extra layer of security. Those are the windows, if you remember the commercials of Brandon Holly beating the crap out of a window with a crowbar or Terrio with a baseball bat. Like, they're Cat 5 approved in Miami-Dade County. I mean, burglars aren't getting in, intruders aren't getting in. If debris is flying through the air with a storm, it's not breaking these windows. So I have a greater sense of security around my home with my wife and son there because we have these windows. It's an extra layer of safety. I would always encourage you to check them out. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Xavier Thomas was one of the LSU Tigers that met with reporters on Tuesday night. And Brian Kelly was also asked about Xavier Thomas when he was on the SC Coaches teleconference on Wednesday. First, here was Brian Kelly on how Xavier Thomas has helped change LSU's approach on special teams after 2 years where this was an impotent return game. And now they've got a legit playmaker.
Sometimes it's difficult to put all your best players on all of the 4 running teams. Now you can start to apply certain players to certain teams that have that ability to flip field position, change the game. And certainly Xavier is a guy that can do that in the punt return game. And maybe we didn't have that last year where, we were wanting to secure the football. Now we want to change field position. And you begin to start to look at that team differently in terms of personnel. And now you're seeing, a lot of our starters are on that team. And I think we take that into account now because of a player like him.
I mean, spell that out. I mean, Brian Kelly is telling you they're putting starters on punt return. And that's something we chronicled all throughout fall camp. I'd bring my notebook. I'd give you the practice report. I'd read these guys from Whit Weeks and West Weeks and guys, Sage Ryan, guys in your secondary, guys you're counting that are starter players that are on special teams because you feel like you have a real opportunity. Look, against Nichols, Xavier Thomas had a 51-yard return after the safety. The opening play of the season. If Xavier Thomas gets his foot that much higher off the ground, he probably houses the opening kickoff of the season for a touchdown. USC guy just barely caught his foot. You actually have a dynamic return man now, whereas a year ago, all you were hoping was touchback because you didn't want to put your offense at risk at all of losing the ball. And then on punt, it was just please fair catch it or get away from it. And that's very different now because you have a game changer back there in Xavier Thomas, who credited Bob Diaco for a lot of his growth and development here.
Especially because Diago, he just give me the confidence, like, every day we in here, he telling me, like, you're All-American at this. You know more of it than I do. So just go out there and just making a play. Actually, my first punt return ever was versus Georgia as a freshman, and it was off the bounce. So actually, like, getting the ball off the bounce, like, I like it because it give me that extra burst. So, like, I didn't really second guess catching the ball off the bounce versus Nichols.
It's been pretty incredible to see how it's all transpired. Because this was so bad a year ago. Last year, LSU returned 7 punts on the season. Let me say that again. LSU on the entire season a year ago returned 7 punts. for 74 yards. In 13 games, you returned 7 punts. So, yes, it is encouraging to see. I mean, Xavion Thomas has already returned 3 punts this season and 5 kickoffs. You have a return game again, and it's going to make explosive plays. All right, we got to go. Quick break. Hump Day shows brought to you by Pluckers are closed today, but reopen tomorrow. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. They're online at glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions. Want to tell you about Glow. Sometimes telling you what Glow is good by telling you what they aren't. They are not a temp staffing agency. So really, Glow Resources doesn't. If you're an employee, they don't want you reaching out. They'll find you. Glow Resources works for you, the business owner. That's why they're complete employer solutions. If you're a business owner, HR, hiring manager, operations manager, if you're in charge of finding the right people for your business, you need to work hand in hand with Glow Resources. Over the course of a year, they'll interview some 15,000 candidates. They know the questions to ask, the right questions to ask to make sure you're finding the most qualified people to bring you to max efficiency. That's why they have a 93% success rate. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online. GLO. GlowResources.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Russ Mitchell here in about 20 minutes. Right now, mute. So, Tigers and the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Las Vegas Raiders signed defensive end Kayvon Chaisson to their practice squad Tuesday evening. Of course, Chaisson just recently cut by the Carolina Panthers last week, spent the past 4 seasons with the Jaguars, who drafted him with the 20th overall pick in 2020. Still just 25 years old, played in 57 career games. Could look for some early playing time here as well, as the Raiders are thin at the edge rushing position, losing their starter to a knee injury and the backup to the knee injury as well. So, opportunity here for Kayvon to get back into the NFL.
Had a bit.
Minor League Baseball to get you caught up on. Our guy, Hunter Fiducia.
Heard of him.
He's at it again.
He's our guy.
We're
a big Hunter Fiducia show here.
You're not going to find 2 bigger fans of Hunter Fiducia than us.
Been a Hunter Fiducia fan since way back in the day.
Way back in the day. What year did you play at LSU?
The day.
Yeah. 2018.
Way back in the day.
3 for 5.
I actually did know it was 2018.
Okay.
Because I've learned that here. Since he existed for a while in a black hole in my space, but I do now remember, of course, that Hunter Fiducia played in 2018.
It's been a great year for him, man. He's just tore it up in minor league ball, got up to the major leagues, back down to AAA now. Went 3 for 5 last night with a couple doubles. One of them driving in 2 runs, 17 doubles on the season. He was playing a couple former LSU Tigers, one of them being the catcher that he replaced at LSU, Michael Papierski. On the other side, Pap, 2 for 4 last night as well. Both of those singles, but did drive in a run.
I remember him.
Yes. Fond memories, man.
How is it just... I try to dig something out of the recesses of my brain. It's just not there.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, and not to, catcher after Pap was it was a struggle for a little bit there. I mean,
we saw Jordan Romero back there.
Yeah.
We saw Nick Coombs back there. A couple of Calicut guys. I mean, I'm very familiar with the struggle. Yeah. Fiducia just is not in my brain. Yeah. It's so weird. Guys, he's a major leaguer. It's just not in my brain.
Jake Slaughter was also on the other side and went 1 for 5. That's LSU Tiger Jake Slaughter, not the Florida Gator. And we'll wrap it up. Paul Gervais, shutout, perfect inning last night to close out a victory for the Montgomery Biscuits with 3 punch-outs in the game. It's Tigers in the pros.
It's just not as fun as when Paul was with the Cyclones.
It's not.
Because we get to talk about Paul. We play Baby Bash. We do Cyclone. I'd get on the desk. I'd move my body like a cyclone.
You got to get somebody else on the Cyclones,
Reggie Chapman and Reggie. We love it. And, it was a thing. And it's just not a thing anymore.
It's not.
You're a Montgomery Biscuit. I don't have a song about biscuits, do we? Have any songs about biscuits?
I don't
think have songs about biscuits.
I like biscuits.
I like
They're
biscuits
very tasty.
They're
yeah.
really great. Put some jelly on them.
Ooh.
A lot of different types of jelly. Really good. Okay. Sports Center's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com. There's a commercial running where I say, the best time or the worst time to think about a generator is when the storm's in the Gulf. Well, now a storm's threatening, and this is the worst time to think about a generator. Maybe this will be the breaking point for you and your family. For me and mine, that was Ida. When Ida came... knocked our power out for about a week. I had to go to L.A. for the LSU-UCLA game. Was leaving Erica and Drew back home with no power at our house. She had to go stay at her parents. That was it. That was our breaking point. We decided we're installing a generator. Maybe this will be that point for you and your family with Francine here. Whenever the storm passes and it's safe to go out, our friends at Optimize will be ready. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Have them come install that whole home generator. It's Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill today acknowledged he could have handled himself better in the initial moments of Sunday's traffic stop that left him handcuffed and pulled out of his car by police officers. He added that did not, though, give them the right to literally beat the dog out of him. Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert out against the Bills tomorrow night with a chest injury. Running back Devon Achane is questionable. Another day in the contract holdout of Jets star edge rusher Hassan Reddick. Jets want him to report, then they'll talk contract. After the season opener Monday, the Jets do need a sense of urgency with this situation, advises ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
Their front seven really struggled the other night, even though it was more against the run. Hassan Reddick, with his 58 regular season sacks, can make a huge difference. This was a team that lost Bryce Huff, John Franklin Myers, amongst others. They need help up front, and whether it's going to be Tennessee on Sunday or their home opener Thursday night against New England, Hassan Reddick can help.
Toronto's Bowden Francis, for the second time in 4 starts, lost a no-hitter in the top of the 9th. Today it was on a Francisco Lindor solo shot. Mets went on to beat the Blue Jays 6-2.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. Nope. Hour 3. Skipped a whole hour. An hour that already happened. Gotta go in the DeLorean, Muse.
I was about to say, I don't know that if you skipped it.
Crank that thing up to 88. Go back
88.
an hour.
Yep.
Cue Huey Lewis.
And
we
the
go
news.
back in time. It's hour 3. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
He's Paul.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
He's Muse. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day. All right.
It's hump day.
We're back on track, Muse. You feeling it?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I'm feeling it.
You know what it feels like?
What does it feel like?
Feels like a weekend is what it feels like.
It's hump day.
Does feel a little bit like a weekend.
Ain't nobody here.
No one's here.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Usually Friday at this time. Ain't nobody here.
Nobody's here.
Hump day.
Empty roads.
Yep.
Empty streets.
Yep.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Sun comes out again.
Yep.
Hump day.
Driving by your home.
It's hump day.
Yep.
By your house.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Though I know
Hump day.
you're not home.
Yeah.
It's hump day.
It's Don Henley.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
The Boys of Summer.
Hump day.
Song about baseball, by the way.
Hey, I never knew that. Great song, though.
It's hump day.
I heard Don Henley give an interview where he talked about it.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Yeah. Russ Mitchell in 12 minutes.
Hump day.
That'll make it feel like a hump day.
It's hump day.
All right, let's get cranked up and rolling here, y'all. Glad to have you. It obviously is a bit odd. Francine set to make landfall. Just full disclosure, we've got it on. I got the WBRZ coverage on in studio here. Just kind of keep an eye on things as the storm is coming ashore, and just hope everybody's really safe. Muse, Paulie, and I were the last men standing here. We're going to, as soon as the show ends here in 55 minutes, jet out of here and get home to safety and ride the storm out. But plan is to have a full lineup of shows tomorrow as well. We hope everybody's safe and just takes the necessary precautions. Just ain't no sense in running out and being silly or courageous or dumb in any of this stuff. Just be safe, and we'll be here for you. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for being here. As we mentioned, Russ will be here in his normal spot. We'll spend a couple of segments talking about last weekend in the league and what's ahead. Really quickly, the New Orleans Saints, we told you yesterday that the New Orleans Saints had Kelechi Hudson, the linebacker, signed off of their practice squad by the Cleveland Browns. If you're not familiar with how the NFL rosters work, if you have a player on the practice squad, they are unprotected, meaning another team can sign a player off your practice squad at any time, but they have to sign them to the active roster. So the Browns signed Kelechi Hudson to their active roster. So the Saints had a spot open. We mentioned yesterday, wondering who it was. Found out today, as Ross Jackson reported over at LouisianaSports.net, the Saints have re-signed Shamar Jean-Charles, who was with the Saints during training camp this season. Actually was pretty good. Luke Johnson, as a matter of fact, by the way, was the first to break the news. And our guy Ross Jackson had it over at LouisianaSports.net. So they've signed Shamar Jean-Charles back to the practice squad. Was signed late last season by New Orleans. Was primarily a special teamer. Was with the Saints training camp preseason. Also played really well on defense. It was why a lot of people thought he might make the team, but he was one of the cuts. And now with Kelechi Hudson being signed off of the Saints practice squad, they had a spot open, so they brought Shamar Jean-Charles back. So keep in mind also the injury report from earlier on Wednesday. Marshawn Lattimore did not practice. Of course, Kool-Aid McKinstry filled in for Lattimore Sunday against Carolina. But if in the event that you need another cornerback, if Marshawn Lattimore can't play, McKinstry would naturally step up into Lattimore's spot. Maybe a guy like Shamar Jean-Charles would be in that spot for as a backup, as a depth piece and a special teamer for Sunday's game against the Cowboys. We'll keep you posted as that moves along. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. As LSU gets ready to take on South Carolina over in Columbia. I was checking the text line, and last hour we were talking about, like literally an hour ago, Jerry Palm and Brad Crawford of 24/7. They're picking South Carolina to upset LSU, and I just, for the life of me, don't understand it. It feels, I don't want to say disingenuous, but it feels almost like you're not watching, because this is a matchup where I don't know anywhere on the field that I would give South Carolina an edge. Like, I have watched Lenora Sellers play 2 games. He is a bad quarterback right now. He is a bad player. He has completed 10 passes in each of his first 2 games. In the first game, he ran the ball 8 times for negative 11 yards. Last week against Kentucky, they flipped that, and he ran 22 times. I got a question on the text line, and I'm trying to find who it was from because I would like to. Here it is. It was from Jordan. Thank you. Jordan Menser. He said, Matt, if South Carolina is going to run with a big physical quarterback, doesn't that scare us, LSU? We lost our best defensive tackle, and Nichols put 150 on us. I hope you're right. Okay, let's dive into that a little deeper. Number one, a power running game with a 240-pound quarterback is most effective if you have the threat of the pass, right? Like, you don't have to, I don't need to get on a whiteboard and X and O this for you. This makes sense. Week 1 against Old Dominion. Hang on. I think I kept the numbers right here. Yep, here they are. Week 1 against Old Dominion. Lenora Sellers threw it 10 of 23. This is against Old Dominion. This isn't against Georgia. On his home field against Old Dominion, making his first start, Lenora Sellers went 10 of 23 for 114 yards. He could not throw the ball accurately. He's got a cannon. He can hum it downfield, but they do not have dynamic weapons at South Carolina. There is no Deebo Samuel. There is no Xavier Legette on this team. They do not have that guy. They don't have the guy that terrifies you against an LSU secondary that is still growing, learning. And remember, you're getting Zy Alexander back, who's your best corner, clearly, was your highest graded player last week against Nichols. You're going to move Sage Ryan to safety. You're going to have more of a platoon system. You feel better about your secondary, right? If you held up the way you did against Southern Cal in a Lincoln Riley offense and those receivers, you can hold up against this South Carolina, the East Coast SC. So, if they're incapable of beating you through the air, then you stack the box. This isn't hard. And I would also submit to you that stopping the run in a see-ball, hit-ball situation is more conducive for LSU than someone that's going to spread you out and stretch the field vertically and then try to run, because then you're asking your defensive lineman to win one-on-ones. In this situation, you heard Brian Kelly say it. I don't mean to keep going back to the soundbite, but he talked about playing Whit Weeks, and they can't justify playing him in a platoon. He's their best guy. They can't platoon him. They can't keep bringing him off the field. He's got to be on the field, so they got to make changes. Okay, Greg Penn, West Weeks, Whit Weeks in the interior of your defense. Rotate your interior defensive linemen. I get it. It hurts not having Jacoby and Guillory, but you have a lot of girth with Gio Paez, Sean Washington. Sean, whatever. Brian calls him Sean. I always heard it was Sean. Old habits die hard. Maybe I'll ask the kid when I get a chance. You have JVR Suggs. You've got guys that Jalen Lee, that you can rotate bodies to keep fresh bodies on the interior, to eat up blocks, and let your physical linebackers on the interior make plays. Like, this is a good matchup. I mean, I'll spell it out for you. Like, do you believe Kentucky has a better, more talented front seven than LSU? I don't. Especially, I think LSU's defensive ends and linebackers are pretty good. Against Kentucky, South Carolina flipped it. Instead of 23 passes, 8 runs by Lenora Sellers, they flipped it. They threw it 14 times, and he ran it. Sellers, the quarterback, ran it 22 times. 22 for 68. They knew what he was going to do. And in the first half, Carolina had 10 points and 101 yards of offense. Like, this is, I don't know how to stress. Like, I get why right now, if you're an LSU fan, you're gun shy. And I know what happened against Nichols. But Nichols put together 2 long drives. That's it. In the second half, Nichols did nothing. I get after the long run. They had the long run on the second play. After that, the balance of the second half, they did nothing. You had a forced fumble on the first play, a 3 and out. LSU went boom, 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 3 straight touchdowns. The game was over. They are a good offense. They use misdirection. They use the single wing with Colin Guggenheim. Like, they did some things well. Credit them. Good job. Like, Nichols is a good football team. They were super high for the game. They executed well. They had some things schemed that worked well against LSU. Tigers made the corrections, and Nichols, after that run to start the second half, did nothing. So LSU is going to be much higher for this game. They're going to be ready to play. Yes, it's terrible not having Jacoby and Guillory. He's your best guy. I'm not minimizing that. But what you have to do now is understand you're not going to have impactful defensive tackles. You're going to have guys that are going to be space eaters that are going to free up your linebackers to make plays. And if Brian Kelly is saying you can no longer justify platooning with Weeks and you're going to have to make change at linebacker, the change is very obvious. The change is moving Harold Perkins to the outside, to the star, to the nickel Sam role, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be moving Harold Perkins around and not having him get caught up in the wash in the interior, especially in a game like this when it is a see-ball, hit-ball game against a 240-pound quarterback. Like, it's much easier to defend it when you know it's coming. And that's what it's like with Lenore Sellers. South Carolina ain't coming out to throw the ball 30 times against LSU because that kid can't do it. And they don't have the weapons to get open. Look, we might sit back here on Monday if Sellers goes and throws for 280 against LSU, and you can all point and laugh at me. But if he does that, that is just the most dramatic improvement from the first 2 weeks to the third that I will have ever seen. Because I've watched that kid play the last two games, and it is bad. It is bad. And look, we watched bad quarterback play here and bad offense for a decade. We know what it looks like. I mean, I think Nicholas Harbor at tight end's a good player. Rocket Sanders, when he was at Arkansas, when he was healthy, was a good player, and he's on that offense as well. So maybe load up behind Sellers, Rocket Sanders. They might have something. I just don't see it. Like, I would be stunned, fall over stunned, if we're back here on Monday and you're telling me South Carolina went out and put up 30 points and 450 yards of offense against LSU. It's just so hard for me to see that transpiring. They just don't have the horses to do it. Clip it. Laugh at me on Monday if I'm wrong. Russ Mitchell's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Duplessis Builders. Derek Duplessis and the great crew over there. I know right now with a storm coming, you're not necessarily thinking about a pool. But then again, if you're just, got the doors locked, the windows locked, you're listening to AFR, you're just maybe having a cocktail waiting for the storm to pass, riding it out, maybe this is the perfect time. Maybe this is the perfect time to go to DuplessisBuilders.net. DuplessisBuilders.net. Pools, outdoor kitchens. You want to beautify your outdoor space? Duplessis Builders can do it. And their beautiful showroom on Airline Highway in Gonzales is a great place to start. They've got their tiling and coping. They have a full indoor spa. They have a full spa built indoors where you can see everything from the patio furniture, what turf might look like there, what different tiles, coping, what different water features may look like. So you get to pick and go through that process with them to design your perfect outdoor space with your pool, with your spa, with your outdoor kitchen. It's Duplessis Builders. Go to DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Start now, DuplessisBuilders.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. Russ Mitchell.
Kicking the tires and lighting the fires. Russ! Literally.
Well, I'm proud of Russ. I think Russ deserves it.
It's football!
Rusty, come on up here.
Absolutely, I thought that was going to happen because it's state. It's supposed to happen.
You know, I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you man to man, Russ.
How are things out there at DBU?
I want you to stay here and take care of things, Russ.
The only way you can point up is up.
Not going in our yard, Russ. It's going in our living room.
It's like Troy.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Put your foot on his throat and choke him out.
Take it, Russ.
All right, Russ Mitchell, college football news. Been doing this for more than a decade now. He joins us on Wednesdays. How are you, dude?
Kicking tires, lighting fires, doing a lot better than Moose. I can see you right there on the TV. I can see you through this Zoom thing. What's wrong with Moose?
It's not his fault.
Oh, it's totally his fault.
Paulie is our video producer, and he's trying to connect there. We have the connection. We just don't have the audio for some reason. We're not getting your all right, so you are now on camera for our audience to see, but you're on camera holding a phone. So this is not actually a bad solution, Paulie. I do like the solution that we've done here.
It's just that the phone doesn't work very well. It hasn't worked for like 6 years.
I know. Your phone stinks. You need to get a better phone.
I don't know, man. Dude, we've been through this, man. It's just the phone. I don't know why it doesn't work.
That sounds much better. I think it's just when you elevate your volume. Like when you speak louder, it's when we start to overmodulate and crackle. Right now it actually sounds really good. Actually.
Are you trying to like keep my voice down? Oh, look, my mic is working there.
Wait, see if you can hear him now. All right, speak it. Yeah, hang up the phone, if you would. Or don't hang up, but can you hear him now?
Can you hear me now?
I don't know what happened.
Great job, Paul.
I have no clue.
Great job, Paul.
You need to get closer to your microphone, though. Like you're not.
Hey, how come you throw Paul underneath the bus? You never throw Paul under the bus, but you throw.
You need to put your headphones or your microphone there.
I don't think it's this thing. Is it this thing?
Oh no, what are we hearing?
I don't know. It's coming
you know
through
what
his
it
computer.
is? It's coming through your computer. That's what it is. Whatever your Wi-Fi device, whatever your headset is, that's what it was. We're hearing you now through your computer, through the microphone on your computer, which is fine. It's going to be hollow, but that's what it is. Will that work now?
How's that?
Wait, touch the microphone on your headset deal. Just touch the microphone. It's working now. It's definitely working.
I think that's a separate mic.
No, because he just touched the mic and you heard it crackle. Grab your headset mic.
It's not the headset mic. I've got one of these mics like yours.
So.
That's up here.
Then can you get that closer or no?
I don't know, man. I suppose I could, but this is not really my skill set, brother.
This
All right.
is so good. This is perfect for a hurricane show.
Yeah, no shoot.
All right.
All right, let's go.
All right, we'll go. All right. Do you want to start with Texas walloping Michigan?
Dude, we called that.
Yeah.
That was like that and Tennessee beating up on North Carolina State were like two of the most obvious things. I wasn't expecting Tennessee's defense to be as impressive as they've been in the first two games of the season, but yeah, I mean, Michigan sluggish everywhere on offense, and that's exactly what you saw on Saturday. Meanwhile, Texas's defense looks great. The offense looks very, very thick. They've got depth everywhere, the Longhorns right now. So, you know, I really like where Texas is at, and I don't think this is a surprise with Michigan. I think everybody expected that. Literally, they went from having 128 career starts on their offensive line to 6 or something like that. I mean, that's going to leave a mark.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's a bit much to be expecting the world from Michigan this year.
What did you think about all the West Coast teams that have beaten SEC teams so far? Arizona State beating Mississippi State, Cal winning at Auburn, USC beating LSU. Should we make something of this?
Well, my neighbors are making something of it, but you know, my neighbors are idiots.
Russ lives in Arizona, LSU, for those that don't know.
LSU could have beaten USC. They should have beaten USC. Yeah. And it was on a neutral field. You know, Auburn and State are two of the bottom feeder programs right now in the SEC. Certainly State is. I mean, the surprise in that game was Arizona State running the ball as well as they did. They kept the ball for 40 minutes of that game. So Mississippi State could move the ball throwing it through the air. They just never had the ball. And they couldn't run. They ran for less than a yard. So I don't know. I'm not going to make too much out of, you know, Auburn, who's dysfunctional at best right now, losing to Cal by a touchdown, and Arizona State winning a very close game against State.
He's on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB. What about Alabama's close call for 3 quarters and into the fourth quarter anyway, before they put, you know, 28 up in the fourth quarter against South Florida?
A really sloppy game, 13 penalties. You know, it's interesting because we talked about this in Vegas, and you talk about it a lot in your Bama burning things, which are so funny. They're very, if you don't have, for all of us who grew up with a father who accepted nothing other than perfection and then never, ever told you that he was proud of you. And yes, if that sounds bitter to you, it's because I'm still very bitter. You know, if you don't have a father like that, then, you know, you slack off a bit. And Nick was that kind of coach. So, you know, they slack off. 13 penalties, 120 yards. They had 3 fumbles. And when that happens, success begets success. So if you're not having success, then the offense struggles to find rhythm, and then, you know, then failure begets failure. And so that lack of discipline, I think, particularly with Wisconsin up next week, and USF is not a very good team. So, I mean, it's understandable, but disappointing, certainly.
You fired up about this weekend's slate of games?
Oh,
Speaking
yeah.
of Wisconsin.
Come on. So exciting. You know, college football is broken if South Carolina hosting LSU gets game day. That is your definition that college football is broken. So, you know, like, I can kind of put up with week 1 having some, you know, skeptical or wish-washy games, but this is ridiculous. Week 3, and, you know, the best game in the SEC this weekend is Boston College versus Mizzou.
Fired up about it, too.
Dude, I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. And I don't know how much of this, they build schedules years in advance. So I don't know how much of this is the NIL sucking more quality players out of the group of 5 so that some of the games that might have been closer aren't as close. I don't know how much of it is teams not yet adjusting to the fact that you don't have to win these games in the beginning. You can still win the games at the end, and make it to the 12 playoff. But again, remember, that includes all of you watching and listening, we have built, and we've built it by putting up with it, a structure where our athletic directors and our coaches make millions of dollars in bonuses for winning 10 games. And 10 games now is not like 10 games when your daddy won 10 games. Yeah. 10 games back then was a real season. This is, you go 50-50 in conference and win a couple out of conference games, and there you go. You're at 8-9 games. It's just a joke.
Russ, sit tight. We come back. We'll talk about, there are some interesting storylines this weekend, including if DJ Lagway can be the guy that saves Billy Napier's job. We'll get Russ's take on that. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If they get a buy in land, trust First South Farm Credit, because for 100 years, more than 100 years, since 1916, they've done one thing: help Louisianians buy land. So go to firstsouthland.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. First in agriculture for more than 100 years, it's First South Farm Credit. Firstsouthland.com. That acreage to build your family's dream home, that recreational property, First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. Okay, we'll continue with Russ next. Stay here.
AFR.
Ariel, Clegg's is closed today, as are most places, with Francine coming ashore now. Got this note from Miss Teresa earlier today. They're going to reevaluate in the morning, weather permitting. Hopefully they reopen tomorrow. Obviously, when the cleanup starts, Clegg's can help. They have everything you need for your garden. If you're cleaning up your garden, gardening tools and trash bags and all the things you need. Remember, they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store, so a lot of the things you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you'll also find over at Clegg's Nursery. So you can get by any of the 4 locations: Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. That's gas cans and floodlights and rakes and garden tools and hose and garden hoses and trash bags and everything, all that stuff. They'll have it at Clegg's. And look, as we start to transition into fall, all your fall decor, your fall vegetable garden, they got Johnny Naylor seeds. It's an exciting time. Bummer with the storm right now, but when it's time to turn it on, it's Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. At Parrish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Parrish built. Parrish built. Parrish built. From your hometown. ParrishBuilt.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, Russ Mitchell with us here as we roll toward your SEC weekend. The slate is not exactly overflowing with a bevy of wonderful football games, but there is some intrigue. I want to start, though, with the question we teased at the end. DJ Lagway was the number 1 quarterback in the country, signed with Florida. He got the start for Graham Mertz this past week, threw for over 300 yards. I get it, lesser competition. Could DJ Lagway potentially save Billy Napier's job?
No. You know, I really feel for you, man. Because every day you wake up, you have 3 hours of radio that you have to fill.
Yeah.
No matter what's going on.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you have to fill 3 hours of radio. Because this weekend sucks.
I get to fill 3 hours of radio.
It sucks. So, first of all, if you're relying on a true freshman, if that's your best case situation against a 6th-year senior, good luck, man. God bless you.
Fair.
God bless you. I mean, how much of the playbook do you think you're running?
Hey, do you think so A&M is going to Florida? Do you think Emmitt Smith, whose son plays at A&M now, and Emmitt's going to be the Mr. Two-Bits guy, should Emmitt wear A&M stuff for his son or Florida stuff for Florida?
No, I love my kids, but if they went to A&M, I'd disown them. Second of all, you can damn well bet I'd wear purple and gold.
Okay.
So that was the easiest question you've ever asked me in 13 years of doing this show.
So Musso disagreed. Musso was like, no, you got to cheer for your kid's school. You got to wear A&M stuff.
Oh, Musso. Does Musso have a kid?
No.
Yeah, there we go. I do want to say there's 2 things about this game, and it's not that it's home field. You know, Texas A&M surrendered 180 rushing yards to McNeese State, which isn't even a state, as we all know.
Yes.
And they surrendered 200 to Notre Dame. So Montrell Johnson, I know that it was over 100 yards and 71 was on that one play, but it was still over 100 yards versus Miami and 5 yards of carrying, 2 touchdowns against Samford. So keep an eye on Montrell Johnson, speaking about Florida running backs. And the other thing is, heading into the season, and again, so we're talking about Tamo's defense. This was supposed to be a high-octane rush offense, right? They were supposed to be able to, put pressure on the quarterback. They're dead last. They have 1 sack. 1. Texas A&M has 1 sack. They're dead last in the SEC.
Oh, you mean losing Walter Nolan was a big deal?
Fan, you're looking at that.
Yeah. So I was just saying, you mean losing Walter Nolan was a big deal? Of course, I mean, they just... How do you lose good players and think you're not going to miss a beat? I mean, it's my same question about Bama.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but they were still considered to be a team in the SEC that was not supposed to be dead last in pass rush.
What do you think about speaking of Bama going to Wisconsin, so Bama maybe got a little bit of a wake-up call, struggling against South Florida for 3 quarters. Bama's a big favorite in this game. It's 16 points, but they're on the road up in Madison. What do you think about that one?
Love Camp Randall. In fact, it was interesting because when y'all went up to play, you played in
Lambeau.
In Lambeau, which is probably better than playing in Camp Randall. But I would say that Wisconsin has really struggled lately against against ranked teams. In the last 13 ranked opponents, they've only won twice.
Good number.
So this really right now is this would be a huge win for a Wisconsin team that has a very, very slow, methodical offense. As long as Alabama doesn't show up sloppy like they did at home against USF, which I don't expect, they should be up for this game. It is, by the way, a kickoff at if you live on the West Coast, you're waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning to watch Alabama play, sort of like LSU. A little bit ridiculous to have games this early, in my opinion, but nevertheless, it is an early game, but I expect Alabama to be awake and very motivated to come out slinging.
We'll talk about LSU and South Carolina here in a second, but you joked a bit earlier about Boston College at Missouri. That is a ranked-on-ranked matchup. Boston College beat Florida State. Of course, Bill O'Brien, the former Patriots assistant, Penn State head coach, Texans head coach. Bill O'Brien is the head coach at BC now. They're 2-0. They're ranked, and they actually, regardless of what you say about the man, his ability as a GM in Houston, he's a good football coach, very clearly. He wins, and he's got Boston College playing well.
Coach. He's a damn good football coach. And, that win in Florida State, that's not an easy place to go on the road and win. It's a place Boston College hasn't had a lot of success. It was a very good win against a top 10 team. Now they're on the road playing another top 10 team. I can guarantee you they're not going to be afraid about going to Columbia and playing between those rocks. That is not an intimidating place to go play. Plus, the big stud offensive tackle that they got from SMU, Marcus Bryant, he struggled last week against Buffalo. Missouri really needs him to play, but this is a team, the Missouri Tigers, that are replacing their defense. And you all know that. You stole their defensive coordinator. I know it's Murray State and Buffalo, but do you know how many points Missouri has allowed so far this year? 0. They haven't allowed a single point.
It's pretty good.
2 games. So, and they have a very explosive offense with some seasoned skill position players. I like Missouri at home. I think this will be a tough win for Boston College going up against a very good Missouri defense.
Russ Mitchell's with us on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB. You want to give him a follow. Russ, I'm starting to see a lot of, go ahead.
I was going to say just one thing, that game, which by the way, you're right. It's the only unranked game in the SEC this week.
Is it the only ranked game? It might be in the country, actually.
Jesus wept.
No, I'm sorry. Friday, we have Arizona, Kansas State.
And don't even start me about playing college games on Friday. But if you want to watch that Missouri game against Boston College, it's on the SEC network. And I think, so you got to, figure out how you're going to do that with the whole, if you got DirecTV. So just an FYI.
All right, LSU at South Carolina. Russ, today I saw Jerry Palm pick South Carolina to win it. Brad Crawford of 24/7 picked South Carolina to win it. I'm floored by look, you and I told this earlier today, you and I were sitting at the Park MGM Sportsbook in Las Vegas watching the early slate of games 2 weeks ago. And one of them was South Carolina Old Dominion. And we were kind of keeping an eye on it because we knew LSU was going to play them in 2 weeks. And they were atrocious at home against Old Dominion. And they weren't any better last week. Don't let the final score deceive you. That game was 10-6 at half, and they had 101 yards of offense. Lenora Sellers completed 10 passes. They are terrible offensively. What am I missing that people think? Is it just that people think LSU is a really bad football team, which they may be, but I don't think so. I think LSU is vastly superior talent than South Carolina. What am I missing here?
Well, not much. I would say that you're an established professional that doesn't feel the need to use clickbait to get people to pay attention to you. That's the first thing.
I am doing the Bama's burning thing for 8 months. It's worked pretty well. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean,
it's different though. That's like a sweet pleasure, man. That's
true.
that's